Once Upon a Time by Gabriel Okara. Gabriel Okara is a Nigerian poet and novelist. His verse had been translated into several languages by the early 1960s. A largely self-educated man, Okara became a bookbinder after leaving school and soon began writing plays and features for radio. In 1953, his poem The Call of the River Nun won an award at the Nigerian Festival of Arts. Some of his poems were published in the influential periodical Black Orpheus, and by 1960, he was recognized as an accomplished literary craftsman. Okara's poetry is based on a series of contrasts in which symbols are neatly balanced against each other. The need to reconcile the extremes of experience, life and death are common themes, preoccupies his verse, and a typical poem has a circular movement from everyday reality to a moment of joy and back to reality again. Okara incorporated African thought, religion, folklore, and imagery into both his verse and prose. His first novel, The Voice, is a remarkable linguistic experiment in which Okara translated directly from the Ijaw language, imposing Ijaw syntax onto English in order to give literal expression to African ideas and imagery. The novel creates a symbolic landscape in which the forces of traditional African culture and Western materialism contend. Its tragic hero, Okolo, is both an individual and a universal figure, and the ephemeral it that he is searching for could represent any number of transcendent moral values. Okara's skilled portrayal of the inner tensions of his hero distinguished him from many other Nigerian novelists. During much of the 1960s, Okara worked in civil service. From 1972 to 1980, he was director of the Rivers State Publishing House in Port Harcourt. His later work interludes a collection of poems, The Fisherman's Invocation, and two books for children, Little Snake and Little Frog, and An Adventure to Juju Island. Once Upon a Time was written explaining what happens when the Western culture replaces the Aboriginal African culture. The poem was written to outline the fake personalities of many people and to try and get them to return to a natural and innocent state. The poem seems like a conversation between a father and a son, where the father wants to learn from his son how to go back to normalcy and no longer be fake. The poem, Once Upon a Time, starts by the father telling his son how the people, or they, so-called Western people, used to laugh with their hearts. Once upon a time, son, they used to laugh with their hearts and laugh with their eyes. Even the laughter by the Western people that was not genuine. Artificiality was a quality that was associated with the Western perspective or the Western way of behavior, which is entirely against the original African culture. But now they only laugh with their teeth, while their ice block coal eyes search behind my shadow. Ice block coal eyes is a metaphor which denotes the way the Western people treated Africans, and they are searching behind the shadow of each and every African. That is the tendency or the aim to exploit the natural resources of Africa, for which the British or the Western people conquered the land. So it's a conversation between father and son, where father wants to learn from his son how to go back to normality and no longer be fake. In the second stanza, the father sheds some light on the behavior of the people in the past and in the present, olden days and modern world. He remembers a time when people had true feelings for one another, used to laugh from their hearts. But today, even the laughter is not genuine. The way they greet each other, of course, without any warmth. And even these Western people make use of their relationship with the Africans to see what they can get from them. The Western people invite Africans to their home only for the sake of inviting. When an African repeats the visit, maybe like on the third visit, he will find the doors shut on him. That means the words of invitation by the Western people are not genuine. They only say these words to be polite. As the speaker grew up by the effect of the Western culture, he has learned to be part of society and behave according to the situation. He has found his natural behavior disappeared forever, and he has learned to behave differently according to the demand of the situation, like home face, office face, street face, horse face, cocktail face, etc., which means he has learned to behave in an artificial manner, which was not the part of African culture. The different ways by which he behaved according to different situations, that was not his natural self or real face. In this stanza, the speaker admits that his mind was manipulated by the West. He has learned to laugh only with his teeth artificially, shake his hands without heart, again artificial. I have also learned to say goodbye when I mean good riddance. He has learned to deceive people with words, to say glad to meet you without being glad, hiding the real emotion in mind and expressing just the opposite to deceive people. He regrets that he has forgotten how to be a natural person. Towards the end of the poem, the poet expresses his deep desire to go back to the innocence of childhood. He is dissatisfied with his own changed self. He thinks that his son's genuine laughter can teach him how to express his feelings honestly. And the simile, like a snake's bare fangs, show the poison, which is the danger which is hidden in his mind as part of mingling with the Western culture. The father wants to relearn how to behave in a natural way. He wants the help of his son. He asked his son to teach him how to laugh, show him how he was once, who laughed with a genuine feeling, who laughed naturally, who behaved with people naturally. There was no artificiality in the behavior or the expression of emotions. The mood of the poem is nostalgic, as the speaker wanted to go back to his past good old days, and the tone is sad because he feels regret for what he has lost by mingling with the Western culture or embracing a foreign culture. So, the reverse of what normally happens in the case of humanity, that parent teaches child, where the father wants to learn from the child. A parent is talking to his son and telling him how things used to be. The parent tells the son that people used to be sincere but are now superficial and seek only to take from others. The persona tells the child that he has learned to be just like these people but does not want to be like that anymore. The parent wants to be as sincere as the son.